Sorry, who's talking?
Self-realization.
What about that, Mom? What about self-realization?
How does one realize?
How do you get there? Oh. How do you get to self-realization? You're asking a very big question very casually. Why do you want to be self-realized? Yes? To be happy?
Yes.
Why do you want to be self-realized?
Happy.
To be happy. So let's address the issue directly. Now it's just like asking how to get rich, how to drink alcohol, how to go to heaven. Why you want to do all these things? Because you want to be happy. So please understand, whether you're trying to make money or you're trying to make a name for yourself, or you're building your family, or you're going to the temple, or you're going to the bar, everything you're doing it in pursuit of happiness. Somebody thinks the way to happiness is through heaven. Somebody thinks it's to the food plate, somebody thinks it's through the bottle, somebody thinks it's through his husband, wife or child. But everybody is trying to get there in so many different ways. Now your way is self-realization. I think it's time we addressed it directly, isn't it? If you look at yourself right now, in the world around you may be identified with many things, but this moment when you're just sitting here, if you look at yourself, you are just a certain amount of life energy, aren't you? Yes? Is it so? See, you think I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm this, I'm that in reference to something else. But in your experience of life, this moment if you simply sit here, if the world disappears, what are you? You are just a certain amount of life energy right now functioning this way. This life energy which you call as myself right now, sometimes has it been joyful? This is considered no in this country. Yes. Sometimes it's been very joyful, sometimes it's been utterly miserable, sometimes peaceful, sometimes very disturbed, sometimes agony, sometimes ecstasy. All these expressions this life energy has found, isn't it so? So it's capable of all these things. Your life energies are capable of both agony and ecstasy, misery and joy, peace and turmoil. It is capable of all this. If you had a choice as to what kind of expression your life energy should find right now, what would you choose? Agony or ecstasy? That much intelligence you have, isn't it? That much intelligence everybody has. Nobody has to teach you philosophies, please choose joy, don't choose misery. Do you need scriptures like this? No. Because the very life in you is longing to be joyful. This is not somebody's idea that you must be happy. The very life in you is longing to be joyful, isn't it? So, wanting to be joyful is not somebody's goal, not somebody's idea, not somebody's philosophy. It's the longing of life itself to be in a certain way. As a flower is wanting to bloom, the life within you is constantly seeing how to be as joyful as it can be, but you are doing everything to defeat that. So, if joy is what you're seeking, if ecstasy is what you're seeking, you must just see that you operate your life energies the way you want them, isn't it? Your life energies should function the way you want them to function. If your life energies were functioning the way you want them to function, you being miserable wouldn't arise in your life, isn't it so? Yes? So that's what you need to do right now, that your body, your mind, your life energies function the way you want them to function. If this happens, then what we call a self-realization is not about being happy. You are very blissful, but you want to go beyond that. You are not trying to live your life well, that you have done anyway, but you want to know the very source of life. Only then you talk about self-realization. Right now you're just trying to live well. Don't talk about all this nonsense. Don't talk about God, self-realization, all this nonsense when you're just trying to live well. To live well, you just need to learn to use your body, mind and energies properly. You will live well. Now, living well is not enough for you. You want to know the very source of life. You are even willing to throw away living well for knowing the source of life. Then you are seeking self-realization, okay? Right now you're just looking how to live well. So approach it directly. Why you want to go through heaven for that? You want happiness, why don't you address it directly? Why you want to route it through heaven or anything for that matter? You better approach it directly because you have already seen it's within you, isn't it? What is within you? Do you have to go around the world and come there? It happened one day. A tourist came this way and asked some boy, how far to Mahabalipuram? The boy said, it is 24,996 miles the way you are going, but if you turn around it's 4 miles. Okay? So this is what you're doing to yourself. All you want to do is be joyful, blissful within you. But you want to go around the world and get there. By the time you go around the world, you may be dead. You don't have a million-year lifespan, isn't it? Life is so brief. Human life is so brief. If you had a million-year lifespan, we could go around the world and come, but still it doesn't make sense, isn't it? What is within you to get there if you go around the world? Does it make any sense to you? Only a fool would do that, isn't it so? So if it is within you, all you have to do is turn around and face it within you, not go around the world. So you want to be just happy, you want to be ecstatic, whatever experience is happening within you. So all these experiences, whether misery or ecstasy, is happening within you, isn't it? So if it's within you, isn't it better you turn inward and create the situation that you want rather than going around the world trying to create it? Does it make more sense? So let's face it, please learn to address your issues directly, not roundabout ways, isn't it? Do you have the energy to travel 24,996 miles? No, most people will die on the way.
But can one get liberated being in the world, in the mainstream of the world, in the family life?
Can one get liberated being in the mainstream of life? You want to get liberated from life? That's easy, we can have you shot. If you want to be liberated from life, it's quite easy. Now you want to become liberated from the very process of life and death, then it's another issue. So, this longing also, why is it coming? Is it because you're unable to bear with life, that you're thinking of mukti? It doesn't work like that. Because you're unable to bear with the process of life, you're thinking of liberation, you will never have liberation. You are absolutely ecstatic. You're so ecstatic, you're just willing to dissolve and die right now. Then liberation is possible. You're miserable, you're looking for an escape route for your misery, there is never going to be any liberation. Because the very longing is coming from a bondage, isn't it? Always, this has been the unfortunate reality of our most human beings is, whenever suffering comes in their life, when things go dead wrong with their lives, that's when they seek spirituality. That's a wrong time. When you're extremely happy, when you're very, very happy and everything is right with your life, that's when you should seek it. But most human beings don't have the intelligence to do this. Only when life knocks them very badly, then they want to know. It's a very difficult pit to come out of. Okay, it's a good time, sometime is a good time. But now don't seek liberation because you're unable to bear with life. It doesn't work like that. First, that's why we are talking about happiness and joy and ecstasy. First learn to be blissful. Blissfulness means what? See, if you're very pleasant in your mind, we call this joyfulness, isn't it? If you're very pleasant in your emotions, we call this love. If you are very pleasant in your body, we call this health, pleasure. If you're very pleasant in your energies, we call this blissfulness. First learn to make your body, mind, emotion and energy very pleasant. Then your existence here is so pleasant. Now you want to know, something is so beautiful, who the hell created this? I want to know. Then your search for creator is genuine. Right now you're in misery and you're screaming for God. This is not it. All you're screaming for is fire brigade. Do you understand? Somebody to put off the fire for you, isn't it? Now you are so blissful. Your experience of life here is so fantastic. Now you want to know who the hell created this. This is a genuine search. Right now you're suffering the creation. Why do you want to meet the creator? See, if you do not enjoy the creation, why would you want to meet the man who created this nonsense? Would you want to? You hate the creation. You must hate the creator even more, isn't it so? Yes, isn't it so? You hate the man who is sitting next to you right now. The one who created this man, you must hate him even more, isn't it so? Now you've fallen in love with the existence. Your experience of life has become absolutely blissful. Now you want to know, okay, who created all this? I want to meet him. This is a genuine search. Otherwise it's just a desperation. Liberation will not come that way.
Why this, all of us are all the time, involved with this notion of liberation. What are we waiting to be liberated from? What is it that we are waiting to be liberated from?
There is something in you which wants to become unbounded. If something is longing to become unbounded, any limitation is a bondage, isn't it? Yes? Whether you're conscious of it or not conscious of it, the impact of the bondage is always there on you. Some people may look at it consciously, why am I bound like this? Others may not look at it, they just get angry with everybody around them. Do you see this happening? See, when some people feel restricted, they will start thinking, why am I being restricted like this? Some people don't know all that. When they feel restricted, they burst into anger. So different ways of expression, but fundamentally, this longing to become unbounded is liberation. What is not allowing you to become unbounded is bondage. So now talking about unboundedness, talking about liberation is no use, because you don't know what it is. You cannot have a clue as to what unboundedness is, isn't it? You only know your limitations. Now you want to go to the sky. You want to reach the sky. Don't worry about the sky. Just understand what is it that is holding you down to the earth. The ropes that are tying you down to the earth, if you learn to cut them, going up will happen, isn't it? If you go on imagining the unbounded, you will hallucinate, but you will never get there.
How did we get bonded in the first place?
One day, Shankaran Pillai was walking, just taking a walk. And then he saw across the fence, there was a melon farm, watermelon farm. His mouth watered. Then he climbed over the fence, took out a sack, plucked melons, started putting them into the bag. He was just about to hoist the bag on his shoulders. Then the owner of the farm came and stood there and said, "May I know what you're doing out here?" Shankaran Pillai said, "I was just walking on the street and there was a huge wind and I just landed in this farm. Can you believe it?" "Oh, the big wind brought you into the farm? Who plucked the melons then?" "I told you it's a wind." "Oh, the wind plucked the melons also. But who put them in the bag? Shankaran Pillai said, that even I am wondering. Right now, that's what you're wondering. Who put you into this bag, isn't it? Let's look deeper. Now, anything, as I've been repeatedly saying, anything that's not in your current experience, if you speak, only two choices you have, believing and disbelieving. Both will not liberate you, you know that. Yes? Now, if you want to know who put you into this bag, first of all, you begin to understand experientially, not intellectually, experientially understand what is the relationship between you and this bag, how you are held in this bag, what is it that is holding you in this bag, what makes you stay in this bag. If you experientially understand this, then you will know how you got into this.
Gee, about 2 months back, I admitted my father in a very serious condition in the hospital. And after they tried their level best, they leave up the matter. And my father survived after the treatment for 36 hours. We were standing around him at his last breath. We saw him. I saw his death, the last breath. At that moment, I raised one question with my doctors. What is the driving force within our body? Because I saw his last breath. It came from here, the last one. What was the driving force in him? Why the doctors gave up? At that time, all the doctors were God to us. Doctor, please save my father. We cried. And the doctor said, we are helpless. We don't know what to do. You also pray God. We also pray God. So everybody prayed God. We have prayed. I'm sorry. I'm emotional. I'm sorry. But he couldn't be saved. At that time I got the question, where is our life? Where it is? Where is the driving force in our body? Why the doctors couldn't trace it out? I need this question. I need answers to this question. Sorry for asking this question.
Okay.
Maybe silly. I'm sorry.
What you call as my body is just a piece of earth that you picked up and now prancing around like this. Yes? It's just a piece of earth, isn't it? It's on loan to you. When the time to return the loan comes, why are you making such a fuss? After all, you're an auditor. You know money borrowed has to be returned, otherwise somebody will keep accounts. Planet Earth keeps proper account. You can't take an atom of it. You can borrow it, you can use it, you can enjoy it, you have to give it back to it. This is the way of life. Now, because you get so attached to a piece of earth, which you call as my father or myself or your wife or her child or whatever, you don't want to give it up. I want you to understand, your love is not for life. Your love is what you consider as myself and all that you consider as that which belongs to me. Every day, people are dying in the world, isn't it? Every minute 200 people are dying. Why didn't you ever think, why are they dying? Why didn't you ever think, where is the source of life? Now your father is dying. If you did not know who is your father, even if that man died, you wouldn't matter, it wouldn't matter to you. But now, it's my father, that is the whole thing. Your concern is not that another human being is dying. Your concern is not about another life. Your concern is just me, isn't it? So when your concern is like this, distorted concern, now you have a distorted vision of life. When you have distorted visions of life, then suffering is inevitable. Now, your father is gone. Yes, we would like to do everything to have our loved ones around us as long as possible. But they will go invariably, isn't it? I should tell you a story. Once, what's your name, Ravi? Ravi? Somebody like Ravi built a new house because it's there in this tradition that if they have a sage or a saint they bring them to their house so that their house is blessed. And they called a yogi to their house. The yogi came, they welcomed him like a king, treated him like a king, fed him well. Then they came and said, "You must bless us and our house." The yogi said, let your father die first, then you, and then your children." The man got really angry. "You idiot, we bring you home, we treat you like a king, we feed you, we give you gifts, and when I ask you to bless me, you're telling me my father should die first, then I should die, then my children should die?" And he is also afraid, because the yogi has said so, it may happen so. The yogi said, "What is wrong with what I said? Is it not good if your father dies first, then you, then your children? If you die before your father, is it good? Or if your children die before you, is it good? If your father should die first, then you should die, then your children should die. This is the natural order of life. Is that not how life should happen to you? Yes? So, your father should die, then you should die, then your children should die. This is the way of life. Because you are completely out of tune with life. You think your father should not die. Okay, instead of your father, if you die, things will be better? Or if your children die, will it be better? No, isn't it? This is the way it should happen. Yes, we do our best to keep our loved ones as far as possible, but when they have to go, you send them gracefully. And when you have to go, you also go gracefully. This doesn't belong to you. You just borrowed it, no interest. But every atom of it you have to pay it back. That's the way it is. So your father paid back the loan. What's your problem? His accounts are clear. Balance sheet is empty.